Today, we're diving into a story that has, honestly, haunted our culture for more than 200 years: Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And yeah, it's one of the first and best horror stories ever written, but it's so much more than that. It's this deep, tragic look at ambition, at what it means to be a creator, and the absolutely devastating price of playing God. So let's really get into that question, because the book starts with it. And funnily enough, it doesn't begin with a scientist in a lab, but with an explorer, an ambitious guy who's trapped in the unforgiving ice of the Arctic. So this Captain Walton, he's driven, he's lonely, and he is just desperate to find a friend who gets him, who understands that burning need for greatness. And then, out of nowhere, he finds this half-frozen stranger, and in him he sees a kindred spirit. The stranger, of course, is Victor Frankenstein, and boy, does he have a story to tell. A warning, really, that Walton and all of us desperately need to hear. Now, Victor's own story, it doesn't start in darkness. It starts in a happy, loving home in Geneva. But he had this early fascination with the secrets of life and death, that line between them. And that curiosity, well, it soon takes a very, very dark turn. You can really see where things went wrong. He has this perfect childhood, but then it's just shattered when his mother dies. And that tragedy, it doesn't just break his heart. It sparks this dangerous, almost godlike ambition to defeat death itself. When he gets to university, that ambition becomes a full-blown obsession. He pushes all his friends and family away, locks himself in his lab, and starts doing things, crossing lines that nobody should ever, ever cross. You know, Victor wasn't setting out to create a monster. Not at all. In his mind, he was an artist crafting a masterpiece. He pictured this new species that would look up to him as its creator. He imagined this magnificent, beautiful being that would prove his genius and be this final victory over death. And then, on a dreary night in November, after 2 long years of feverish, isolated work, he did it. He brought his creation to life. But the reality was a complete nightmare. All the features he had so carefully chosen turned out to be grotesque. That watery yellow eye, the skin stretched so thin you could almost see through it, the straight black lips, it was a disaster. And what does our brilliant creator do? He runs. He just runs away. In this incredible act of cowardice and irresponsibility, he abandons his creation in its very first moments of life, leaving it totally confused, alone and rejected. So Victor gets sick, he's consumed by guilt and terror, and he tries to just forget the whole thing. But you can't outrun something like this. His younger brother William is murdered, an innocent servant, Justine, is blamed and executed for the crime, and Victor knows. He knows who's really responsible. He finally confronts his creation high up in the Alps, and for the very first time, we get to hear the other side of the story. And this, right here, is where the book's central question really comes into focus. It's nature versus nurture, right? Victor just sees this devil, this monster that's responsible for all his pain. But the creature, he tells a story about suffering, about a loneliness so profound it's hard to even imagine. He's not telling a story about being born evil, but about being made evil by a cruel world, starting with the creator who rejected him at birth. And make no mistake, this was not some mindless animal. The creature was brilliant and sensitive. He taught himself everything: how to survive, how to speak, even how to read. He learned about love and family by secretly watching this little family, the DeLaceys, in their cottage. And when he read books like Paradise Lost, he saw himself, an outcast, a fallen angel created and then totally abandoned by his maker. This is his whole argument, right here. He's saying, I started out good. It was the hatred from everyone else that made me a monster. He tells Victor how he tried to connect with the family's blind old father, hoping the man would judge him by his words, not by how he looked. But then the kids came home, and they just attacked him. And that was it. That was the moment his hope for ever being accepted was just shattered, and all that misery started to twist into rage. So here's the crucial point. He doesn't ask for power. He's not asking for revenge. He's asking for a cure to his soul-crushing loneliness. Just one other being in the entire world who won't scream and run away from him. A companion to share his miserable existence. That's it. That's all he wants. And Victor, torn between pity for his creation and absolute disgust, actually agrees. He travels all the way to a remote island in Scotland to start working on a female companion. But as he's putting this second creature together, this terrible, paralyzing fear just grabs hold of him. He just starts spiraling. What if she's even worse than the first one? What if she hates him? And then the most terrifying thought of all hits him. What if they have children? What if they create a whole race of these demons that could destroy humanity? And as the creature is literally watching through the window, Victor, in a fit of terror, tears the unfinished female companion to pieces. And that is the point of no return. The creature's very last hope for any kind of happiness is destroyed right before his eyes. So his promise to leave peacefully just evaporates, and it's replaced by this cold, chilling threat. The cycle of revenge is now officially on. Now, Victor hears that threat and thinks he's going to kill me on my wedding night. But he's wrong. The creature's revenge is so much more poetic and so much crueler. He doesn't just want to kill Victor. He wants Victor to feel the same absolute crushing loneliness that he has felt his entire life. So he goes after everyone Victor loves, one by one, until the creator is just as isolated as his creation. With absolutely everything he ever cared about gone, Victor Frankenstein has only one thing left to live for: vengeance. He dedicates what's left of his shattered life to hunting his creation to the ends of the earth. And this obsessive, frantic chase across the globe finally brings us right back to where we started, on Captain Walton's ship, trapped in the ice. This is where Victor's long, tragic story finally catches up to the present moment. On his deathbed, his ambition is finally gone. Victor warns Walton to give up his own quest for glory, to learn from his catastrophic mistakes. But wait, the story isn't quite over. Because after Victor dies, Walton goes into the cabin and is absolutely stunned to find the creature itself standing there, mourning over the body of its creator. And in this final, haunting moment, the creature just lays his soul bare. He talks about his remorse, and he tries to explain that all his evil deeds were born from a misery that no one else could possibly understand. With his creator, the one and only link he had to existence, the focus of all his love and all his hate, now gone, his own purpose is gone too. And with that, he leaps from the ship, promising to end his own life, and just disappears into the darkness and the ice. Which leaves us with the book's big, haunting question. But maybe it's not just who was the real monster. Maybe the better question is, what creates a monster? Was it the being made from dead body parts? Or was it the brilliant creator whose ambition was so much bigger than his compassion? Or was it the society that rejects anything that it doesn't understand? It's a question that's been debated for over 200 years, and honestly, there's still no easy answer.